Glad you're here. We're going to call this meeting to order, and then we're going to go into executive session. All right? So we'll have the committee members stay before we resume with all of the action items. Good. Okay. Thank you.
Do we have to call it?
Yes, okay, so everybody except the committee members. And me and Derek.
Yeah.
And Derek.
Always in it, yeah.
Thank you. Revise those to make sure that we have some consistency across from them, and that we also clarify not only the role of the trustees in each and every one of the gifts given in advancement, but also the reporting requirements and the timing of that, all right? Is there anything that I missed in that discussion? So it'll be a full review, because the thinking is that this committee and advancement is not relegated just to naming rights, but it is both restricted and unrestricted gifts. And we will be looking at that, both at the college level as well as the chancellery. So we're looking at all of the policies, all right? And unless anybody has any questions on that, we will continue with the agenda. Any questions? No? Okay, cool.
All right, so, okay, action
I have
items.
to leave because I have to be uptown in Co-op City with the mayor in 45 minutes.
Good luck.
Huh?
Good luck.
I know, I will make it, I have a good drive. All right.
Okay, action item 1A is the approval of the minutes of the November 20th, 2023 meeting. I move the approval of action item 1A. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Abstentions? Approval of the minutes is unanimous. We now address the policy items, the items of the policy calendar. Policy item B1 is a resolution requesting the approval of the naming of the Engineering Futures Endowed Scholarship at City College of New York. I now call on Vice Chancellor James Gallo to provide further information on this item.
Thank you. This is a resolution to name the Engineering Futures Endowed Scholarship at City College. Ronald Davis, a 1967 graduate from City College, is given $190,000 to create this endowed fund. Mr. Davis graduated from Stuyvesant High School in 1962 and was unable to attend other engineering schools because of a lack of scholarships and resources. This fund will allow one student to attend the Grove School of Engineering tuition-free each year. City College enthusiastically recommends this resolution and naming.
I move the approval of policy item B1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carried unanimously. Policy item B2 is a resolution requesting the approval of the naming of Mary Kay and Paul Janes Scholarship Fund at Macaulay Honors College. I call on Vice Chair Gallo to provide further background.
This is a resolution to name the Mary Kay and Paul Janes Scholarship Fund at Macaulay Honors College. Mrs. Janes is the former dean of Marymount Manhattan College, and her late husband was an American post-war contemporary artist. Mrs. Janes has made a bequest intention of $500,000 to establish an endowed study abroad scholarship fund to help defray the cost of study abroad experiences for low-income students at Macaulay Honors College. This fund will provide approximately $22,500 a year for such experiences, and Macaulay Honors College enthusiastically supports this naming.
I move the approval of item B2. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Abstentions? Carried unanimously. Policy item B3 is a resolution requesting the approval of the naming of the Bernard and Ann Malamud Humanities Endowed Scholarship Fund for students in humanities and the arts and MFA in creative writing at the City College of New York. Vice Chancellor Gallo.
This is a resolution to name the Bernard and Ann Malamud Humanities Endowed Scholarship Fund for students in humanities and the arts and MFA in creative writing at City College. Bernard Malamud was a 1936 graduate of City College and one of the best-known authors of the 20th century. The Malamud family has given $650,000 to create an endowed scholarship fund, which will support one graduate and one undergraduate student annually. City College enthusiastically supports this naming.
Great. Move the approval of policy item B3. Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstentions? Carried unanimously. Policy item B4 is a resolution requesting the approval of the naming of, did I miss one? I'm sorry. I did miss
Number
one.
4.
B5, naming the Wendy.
Before.
B4.
It's
Oh,
also-
the Melman.
Two
You
Melmans.
know, I'm moving too fast. Do I have a second? All in favor? Pass. Item B4 passes unanimously. Policy item B5 is a resolution requesting the approval of the naming of the Wendy Papier Bernstein Endowed Scholarship Fund at Lehman College. I call on Vice Chancellor Gallo.
This is a resolution to name the Wendy Papier Bernstein Endowed Scholarship Fund at Lehman College. Wendy is a CUNY alumna and received degrees from Lehman College, Queens College, and the Graduate Center, and has been a speech-language pathologist for over 50 years. She has made a gift of $100,000 to establish an endowed fund that will provide scholarships in perpetuity for students pursuing a degree through the Lehman College Speech-Language Hearing Sciences Department. This fund will honor students for the achievements and contributions in the field of speech-language hearing sciences with approximately $4,500 a year. Lehman College enthusiastically supports this naming.
I move the approval of policy item B5. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Carried unanimously. Policy item B6 is a resolution requesting the approval of the naming of the Perpetual Kindness Scholarship Fund at City College of Technology. Vice Chancellor.
This is a resolution to name the Perpetual Kindness Scholarship Fund at New York City College of Technology. The Perpetual Kindness Foundation, led by Lori Malloy, has made a gift of $50,000 to create a new endowed fund focused on supporting enrollment, retention, and graduation at City Tech. This fund will provide $2,000 annually to City Tech students pursuing their degrees. City Tech enthusiastically supports this naming.
Move the approval of B6. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No, any abstentions? Carried unanimously. No more items on the policy calendar. I move to the information item on the agenda. I call on Senior Vice Chancellor for Institutional Affairs, Strategic Advancement, and Special Counsel Glenda Grace, and Vice Chair Government Affairs Jeff Rodas to provide the update on state and city lobbying, budget timelines, and advocacy efforts.
Just going to bring up the PowerPoint, and Jeff's going to
gonna
start, and
start
I'll
off.
finish up.
Okay. All right, we're gonna give you a little update on what's going on around state and city lobbying at this point. You all know it's very early in the process. I'll go over a timeline in a second of where we are, but prior to the new year, we met with, and I say we, it was the chancellor, the CFO, the COO. I attended a meeting or two, and the senior vice chancellor, with the following people. On the state side, we met with the governor's office, we met with the state budget director, we met with the Senate majority leader, and we met with the staffs of both the Senate Finance Committee and the Assembly Ways and Means Committee. On the city side, we met with both the Speaker of the City Council and the Council Finance Chairman, as well as the New York City OMD Director, Management and Budget Director. Basically, the meeting was really to explain the university's fiscal condition, our structural deficit, and ways we look to address this deficit. So it's kind of a precursor to our actually lobbying, which is starting now. So we'll go to the state budget timeline, and I'll briefly run through it with you. So on January 3rd, the legislative session convened, meaning both the Assembly and the Senate started their legislative sessions. On January 9th, the governor delivered her State of the State address up in Albany. We'll go into what happens at those events in a minute. Last Tuesday, the governor submitted the executive budget, which we are still analyzing, our finance team, and we're starting to frame some comments around that, which hopefully we'll share with you guys soon. February 16th is the last day for the governor to submit her 30-day amendments. These amendments are usually technical in nature, not major changes are made there, but that's going to happen on the 16th. Internally at CUNY, what we do is each borough, and I mean borough, I mean all the presidents of the colleges within the respective 5 boroughs hold either a breakfast or a lunch where we invite all the local elected officials and sometimes citywide officials, and the presidents advocate for the needs of CUNY and their schools, as well as some people from the Chancellery attend those. So those pretty much have all been scheduled except for one, which is being worked on as we speak. In March, each legislative branch comes out with their one-house budget bills, which eventually are negotiated with the governor's office, and hopefully we'll have a enacted state budget by April 1st. Now, we know historically that can be late, as it was last year. In terms of, Glenda, could you move?
Oh, so sorry.
That's all right. So in terms of advocacy on the state budget, it's done by the chancellor, members of the chancellery, our Albany office, all the presidents and deans of the colleges, college external relations staff, which are pretty much the government relations staff at each of our colleges, as well as other members of the university. We work with the University Student Senate, and our professional staff Congress. And obviously we all have similar goals, and we try to work together in terms of messaging and what's really needed for the university. We do this through calls, through meetings, other outreach. I mentioned the breakfasts and lunches that we do, and we have staff engaged in Albany during all the session days. I mentioned earlier the first day of session, which was January 3rd. We had folks up there who attended the receptions of both the Assembly and Senate, where you have a chance to interact with the various members and talk to them about CUNY and what our needs are. I also mentioned January 9th was the State of the State address. I know we had a board member here who attended, and after that address, there's also a couple of receptions that go on up in Albany. One the governor hosts, and one is hosted by the Attorney General and the State Controller. And that's also a chance to engage with many elected officials all in one place at one time. Are you going?
Yes, and just as we continue, 2 lunches that we hold during the caucus weekend and during the Somos weekend, the information's up there. We have these great lunches where we invite tons of elected officials, and it's pretty impressive. I was talking to some trustees who were deciding whether they should go or not, and the great thing about it is you get to see CUNY from a different perspective. You hear about it from elected officials, many of whom are CUNY grads or have CUNY grads in their schools, and also there are a number of students up there. The luncheon for caucus shows support for a caucus and actually highlights student programs that are of interest to caucus members. This year, we're also going to be, we'll share information, but we're going to be honoring someone who's going to be retiring shortly from the assembly. The Somos Conference, a lunch 3 weeks later, and we highlight the CUNY SUNY Model Senate project. And the great thing about that is there's a lunch, you hear a little bit about what we do, but then you can actually see the students on the floor of the Senate. And at least, I think it's Senator Rivera who actually started his, the first time he was on the floor of the Senate was during the Somos Conference and in this program. And now he's still intimately involved as a senator working with the students. So it's actually pretty impressive. How do we talk about what the Chancellery does, but we also just remind you of what our deans and our presidents do. They go to both lunches, so they're up there during caucus and SOMAS talking to different elected about the work that they do. They participate in the borough breakfasts or lunches, and actually this year, Manhattan is actually having their breakfast in Albany. So instead of inviting folks to come to the colleges, they're going up there because they want to make sure our very important ask is really the message is carried to the elected. They also travel to Albany at other times and also go to local offices to talk about what our priorities are. And again, there's the CUNY priorities writ large, but realistically, the way you make it real is you explain what the priorities mean on each campuses. And that's how a lot of elected members really see how it's real. It's one thing to talk about, we need more money for mental health care. It's another thing to talk about, this is what it's gonna mean in terms of how many counselors I'm going to be able to add, how that's going to change the ratio, and we really rely on our deans to do that. And they also target not just people who represent the colleges, but we've been fortunate to get demographic information every year that breaks down how many elected, how many folks are in a legislator's district who actually go to the college, how many people live, work at the colleges, how many people, alums are in their districts. So really, we're able to capture different people's interests based upon those numbers. And we share that. We actually just got updated information that we shared with the presidents. And again, what are we going to do? What's the message they deliver? After we all know the executive budget was released, and we know that CUNY has been analyzing what that means for us. How much of our ask is in that executive budget, and where do we need to make up certain things? And what we do at CUNY is we end up doing this goal sheet. And it's funny, the first 2 years I was here, we didn't do gold, and everyone kept asking, where's the goal sheet? Where's the goal sheet? So we continue now to do the goal sheet, where we actually have legislative priorities that are based upon, again, CUNY central big issues that are in the budget ask. And then when deans and presidents go, they can again explain what it means specifically to them. We're likely going to talk a bit in our goal sheet about the structural deficit and also the funds needed to cover labor costs. And presidents, again, will share how this impacts their schools. And there's also going to be capital projects that are prioritized. Now, the great thing is we get to work through and walk through this dance with the state that ends roughly around April. And during that time, we are also working with the city, with the timeline in the city. And this year, the mayor released his preliminary budget January 16th. Actually, he's going to have his State of the State at Ostos Community College on Wednesday. The city council will release its preliminary budget in March. And then the mayor will release his executive budget April 25th. And then there'll be a council hearing for the executive budget in May. We expect the budget to be adopted before July 1st. And then there are different city budgets that are listed. September talks about the capital plan, November financial plan, January the preliminary budget, executive budget, and April. We are going to, and we're already meeting with people, as Jeff mentioned, talking to different members of different committees, talking to different council members as well as their staff. We're going to, just like we advocate for money from the city, we have to do it from the state. And we have different events highlighting the impact of the PEGs that have been imposed upon that actually have quite large, double-digit million right now. There'll be CUNY Borough breakfasts where you talk to city officials also. And again, we have the same expectations for presidents and deans to talk to elected officials about what we need from the city budget. So we're just at the beginning of this. This is a great time of the year, actually, because we have a lot of interaction. And the great thing is we've just done a lot more talking before the session even started. Any questions or comments or concerns about what we presented?
I think it's great that we're able to kind of look at the demographics of our alumni and students. I mean, if they need a number to know what this university really holds, it gives it. So I'm really glad that we're putting that in so that they understand
And
the
it's-
impact.
The spoiler alert is one of the things that the chancellor does at the Senate at the joint finance hearing is he tells each member how many students come from are in their district. And the funny thing is he's done that I think every single year. And if he doesn't lead with it, that's what the member leads with. They ask. In fact, last year, someone's like, well, last year I had the highest number.
Yeah.
But with redistrict, it's interesting. But just to make people understand how, what the impact is. And another way is we walk into most offices and there are people from CUNY who are working there.
Yeah, yeah.
So they know how important our students are and we are, so.
And another interesting fact is a lot of times members think they know what schools the people in their district, the students attend, and they often are wrong because they attend other schools too. So to make that point, it's those numbers are wonderful to have.
I think it's just really important in general for everyone to be reminded of our local impact and what their decisions do and impact their constituencies.
We can share that for committee members. It's a lot of paper. So next at our meeting, we can give the documents to the committee members, and then we can see if we should share them more widely.
That'd be great.
And the level of involvement and support that CUNY is there is so well appreciated, and knowing both on different levels, both on the governor's level, assembly level, the city council, Senate, that what has been done has truly made a difference. And we see the effects of that, for instance, in the TAP programs where changing those dynamics. And Isa, if you have an opportunity to see that for the students, the impact there is quite helpful, and the making sure that, and you'll see the list of priorities that have, and the programs in mental health, for instance, that we're all making sure continue and advance in that regard. And just one point, if that's okay, going forward, there is so much impact on a federal level, in particular with Pell Grants. Maybe when you have an opportunity to be able to share that with us, if that's okay.
We can actually, one of the things that we can think about doing, we've been working with a lobbyist for earmarks and other issues, other ways of getting funding through the federal government. That's one of the things that we can report on, some of the work that we've been doing. So we can do that in the near future also.
For information purposes.
Sure.
Excellent.
Okay, no other items on the agenda. I move to adjourn.
Second?
Yes, second?
Yeah, second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Thank you.
Okay.
This meeting